many, there's so many painful things that we all go through in life. And they become a load that you carry around, and until you learn to kind of just, I think it's about forgiveness maybe, like, that being a really important word, and part of learning how to be a good person and how to be happy, is that when you forgive those things, you can drop that load and move forward.
Welcome everybody to the 10th episode of Catch My Riff. My name is Devin Canfield, and we are back for the 10th episode and the first episode of 2021. And in the studio, we had Chris Diller stop by, played us a couple tunes. So be sure to stick around for this episode and hear some live performances from Chris. Chris is a prominent musician out here in the Delaware Beach area and all throughout the East Coast as well. If you want to check out some of his music and learn more about Chris, head over to chrisdillermusic.com and you can find all of his information over there, including his music. So let's jump into this episode, and I will let Chris tell his story and play you guys some tunes. So thank you for listening, and here we go.
How did you end up getting started in that circuit? Did you run into somebody, or was it kind of you did your own research and started up yourself?
Yeah, so that's a tricky one. It takes a long time, but I met this dude in Ocean City one time. His name is John Lemure. Lemure, I think is right. He's not here anymore. I think he stays down in Key West, but he would do summertime in Ocean City, Maryland, and then he'd go down to Key West and play. And I'm looking at his schedule. I'm like, man, I was at a desk job before, and I was like, I got to figure out what this guy did.
What was the job?
I went to art school, so I was in a graphic design job for a marketing company.
Nice.
Wasn't bad, but it's not like getting a round of applause every 3.5 minutes, when you're playing music full time. Mm-hmm. But I actually reached out to John when I saw his schedule. I saw his name pop up over. I should say I was kind of a student of the game, and he gave me some good advice, which was don't take no for an answer. When you're trying to play gigs, you got to be nice. But if you're trying to start out and play, you gotta pester people and email them, and it's not something I like to do. But certain gigs were like, hey, following up, I wrote you an email 2 weeks back, see how you feel about this. But that didn't really work as well as I would have liked it to. There was one time here where my buddy was getting married in Rehoboth, and they were trying to fill out their itinerary for their weekend. And I was kind of, I was reaching out to the people that run the show at Jimmy's Grill. They didn't know me. This was 5 years ago. But they're like, all right, another one of these guys, coming in saying, hey, I can play Wonderwall on the guitar. Like, can I come play your show here? They get that all the time. But I said that, I got this buddy who's getting married. They have like 300 plus people looking for something to do on a Sunday afternoon. Do you think you could plug me in? And so they did. And 300 people showed up on a Sunday in the middle of August. And they called me back the next day and say, hey, man, can you play next summer? And I had a job. So that was sort of, kind of a funny crossroads there. I was like, no, I can't because I have a job. Like, oh, if you're not ready, then we'll just pass on you and we'll go somebody else. I was like, wait a minute, wait. Book it. I'll figure that stuff out later.
You got a year to figure it out.
Yeah. So I had a whole, basically, 6 months or so to find more gigs besides, middle of the week beach bar gigs here. So that's when I really got crazy. Like, I had to fill the schedule out because I knew I was going to leave my job. And I had this one gig lined up, but that was only one gig, like every Tuesday throughout the whole summer. So I just reached out and I said, hey, my name's Chris. I like to play, and then sometimes I'll go in and actually meet them in person. I think that's a better route to go. It's like, hey, I just wanted to introduce myself and because I don't I don't know. It's like it's a tricky game to like try.
It is.
I don't have anyone representing at the time. I just still don't have anyone representing me. But once your foot's in the door, though, certain gigs would like to have you back if you bring out people, which is the most important thing. You're trying to work together and make money. So yeah, then it's all. Then you get the snowball rolling. You get a few here and a few there. Then things are reoccurring, and there's returning customers, and everyone's happy. So it took a while.
Right.
It took a while, but you mentioned Nashville. That place is my Disneyland. You could just hop into an Uber and be like, "Oh, dude, do you write music?" Like, yeah. Why don't you come over to my place later? I'm looking to write a song. So like, I talk ideas. I mean, it's very welcoming, the songwriting community. But yeah, about the gigs. I mean, there's not really too much that pay for this kind of stuff that I do here in Dewey Beach and in Ocean City. But the songwriting community is very welcoming.
Have you been down there recently at all doing anything?
Yeah, I usually go about once a month.
Oh, okay.
So, but that's outside of summer. The whole COVID thing messed it up. Like I was down there in February. And then Tom Hanks got sick, and then the NBA shut down, and it was like, all right, cancel the flight, or cancel the trip or whatever. But yeah, I go down there once a month to meet people, or get inspired, write songs, and then I'll book some recording too. So, and then there's also shows like songwriting shows where like there's writers rounds, which I would love to try to do more of that here, bring that sort of stuff here, like with songwriting. People who get together on stage and they share songs that they either wrote with each other or together, and they just take turns explaining where their inspiration came from. I think that's like when I see that type of stuff, that's what makes me want to pick up the guitar and start writing. So I don't know. Yeah, but once a month, and I try to go as much as I can, but hopefully things clear up. We can get back down.
When you went and did the writers' rounds in Nashville, did you get a vibe where you could sit back and you look at the people and you're like, man, these guys are no joke. These guys are serious, as opposed to playing maybe in like Baltimore or something like that? What was your did something kind of hit you when you were in Nashville specifically, seeing those types of musicians?
Yeah, I've definitely felt like the new kid in school. I mean, I play with a lot of younger kids down in Nashville. They're like, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 years old. And they're just showing up to town because that's like their dream. And I didn't have that, I guess, that perspective so early. But when I got there and I had a couple of shows lined up, and then, to my right on stage is a girl that just signed with Sony, and to my left is top 20 on season 13 of American Idol. And I'm up there like, oh, I'm a kid from Baltimore, and let me try to play a song for you. It was humbling, very, very humbling. And everyone is just so good. I mean, I played bars, and there were off the like the singer-songwriting scene where it's not on Broadway, but there's places there where there might be 6 people in the bar, and I would bet all my money in my bank account that this is probably the best thing that's happening in the city right now. This some dude on stage is just singing his heart out. And it's like jaw dropping. So yeah, there's moments like that. And if I had to put it on one moment, I was there one time with my wife, and it was during a festival called Tin Pan South, which is a songwriting festival there. Mm-hmm. And if anyone that goes to Nashville or lives in there, they know exactly what it's all about. There's a bunch of venues around town where established songwriters are officially booked for these rounds all over the city throughout the whole week. And I went to one. It was at around, if I could remember where that place was, the Station Inn. I think it was. It's like a trailer looking place in the city. It's really cool, very intimate. And there was a guy named Scotty Emmerich there, and I heard of him and I saw him play on YouTube with Toby Keith a bunch of times. But dude, his voice and his guitar playing, they were meant for each other, and it was like mesmerizing. So he inspired me, Scotty, listening to him play, and I got to talk to him after the show. I actually picked up this nylon string guitar just because I saw him that night. So it's there's moments like I don't sleep in Nashville. When I go there, I see these guys play, and I just can't fall asleep. I'm just inspired, or just thinking about other song ideas, and that's just the way it goes for me.
Or you're located right now in Dewey.
Yeah.
What's the appeal? If that's Disneyland and that could be Disneyland, that's great. But there must be something here that you dig as well, because the following is here. I'll tell you that much. When I saw you play for the first time at Jimmy's, because shout out Timmy and Brian and the Marins, some of my buddies.
Yeah.
They're like, dude, you got to go see Chris Diller. So why don't you tell us about first your setup and then how you've been able to kind of get this following?
Well, Dewey Beach, it's a special place, man. This year, with everybody sitting down and behaving themselves, I actually have enjoyed it, playing on stage. It's not the most. It's kind of annoying to be in a bar if you're not playing music, if you're used to regular stuff happening. But when you're playing and everyone's not trying to do shots all night, and there's not as many bachelorette parties, getting after it, they're actually listening. And I get to play a little bit of original music, and I try not to do too much because we're trying to keep strangers and new friends. We're trying to make new friends and having them stick around at the bar. But, I guess it's a small town, Dewey Beach. Like I've gotten to know, and now they're some of my best friends. The bartenders there, the people that live here year round, and also my housemates. I live in a shared house. So they have been coming down here for years. It's like 14 people that pitch in for a house for the year or whatever, and they come down from wherever they're, like Wilmington, D.C. or Baltimore, and they come out. So they bring their friends. It's just I've been playing here for 5 years, and I think it just takes a little bit of time and just being nice to people. And that's the other thing that I'll say is, as far as the following goes, the other musicians that play here are some of the greatest people I've ever met in my life. We all support each other. If we can, we try. I mean, we all have the same schedules, but we all go and grab a beer and a shot with whatever one's playing in their venue or whatever. If someone's having an off night, not so much this year, but if someone's having an off night and their vocals are hurting somebody, and one of their friends, another musician, will pop up and sing for them. And I think that community, it turns into like a frat or something like that. So it's a tight knit community there with the musicians and the staff at all the venues. But it's also not easy, or it's not hard to be friends with them because they're just great people. So I think it's a lot of industry people and the people that live and come through. And that's the other thing, is playing in Dewey Beach is like touring without the travel. So every night it's a different audience. It's people from Philly, DC, New York, sometimes Jersey, and I meet a brand new crowd almost every night. Besides what the my musician friends that come in and out.
What's the? Do you have something off the top of your head? The weirdest thing that's ever happened while playing in a bar?
I have a bird's eye view of some of the craziest stuff, man. Like even just and Jimmy's especially. I love playing Jimmy's. It might be one of my favorite places to play ever because the room there, it's got a good acoustic framework in there, so it's just so awesome to play. But where that stage is, bird's eye view of the bar, dance floor, bird's eye view of the parking lot, bird's eye view of everyone coming in and out of Bottle and Cork, bird's eye view of everyone across the street, going to and from wherever over there, Hammerheads and Dewey Beer Company. But if I had to pick one thing, all right, so this was at Jimmy's.
It sounds like there's more than one.
There's a bunch, but this one is fresh on my mind because it might have happened last year, I think.
Okay.
So this one girl, there was a group, there was a dance floor happening at Jimmy's, and there was a big party, and it was a full house. But on the side of the stage and off to the side of the dance floor too was 4 people. Now they actually asked us to get off stage because it was so crowded that they needed people to leave. So we actually got off stage for like 45 minutes. Then it was probably time to get back on. And and then everyone was ready to party again. But these people never left. They were there from the very beginning of our set. But this one girl, I saw it happen. She's, you know how in Jimmy's, like the tables and the chairs are very like tall.
Yeah. Yep.
They're tall.
Yep.
The floor is cement. That's important to remember here. So she pukes in her drink, all over herself. So I smelt it immediately because she was right there, and it was horrifying. But then she kept puking, and for whatever reason, I guess the only thing she figured what to do was just to throw herself back off this chair. And now there's puke all over her and all over the table in her drink, but she just knocked herself out, throwing herself back in the dance floor. She lands in the middle of the dance floor. So we stopped the show. Everyone was like, oh my God. It was just the loudest, like, smack. And she was fine, but she had to be helped out, and we had to, like, everyone cleared. Because it was a packed house, man. The smell was horrendous, dude. I'll never forget it as long as I live. We stopped playing for 45 minutes, and then we had to stop again to clean up the mess. It was disgusting, man. But that was, I don't know, a good memory, but it was the craziest thing I've ever seen. But there's plenty of stories like that.
The one thing I noticed right off the bat when we had saw you was, again, kind of your branding with your Doge, your dog.
Yeah.
You had the suitcase with your...
Yeah.
So give us some insight into the whole premise, because it looks like your dog has a lot to do with your artwork and your overall brand.
Yeah. So he was a good boy. Sky was his name. He sadly passed away in February.
R.I.P.
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 But he was celebrated so well, man. Like, I guess he helped make me some friends in this town in Dewey Beach. Mm-hmm. In many ways, probably the reason why I still have jobs, like in some venues. Like he would be the mascot. He would just sit up on stage and fall asleep, and then sometimes people would come up to stage and say hello, and he would politely greet everyone that wanted to say hello to him. We were attached at the hip, so he would be here right now. I promise. Like, he was just we travel in the van, we go to and from. He'd be in the studio too. He'd be in the control room for the studio, and sometimes he'll shake off his collar and he'll make a cut. We'll leave it on the song, Yeah, man, like that was a good chapter. But when he passed away, I'd go to, and this is there's probably more that I could tell, but when he passed away, I played a show near where I grew up. It's a place called Inverness Brewery, and I couldn't believe the support that we had. I mean, I always thought that I was a weirdo that just took pictures of my dog, and like I was such a weird dog freak person, but people seem to follow Sky and our journey together with the whole music thing. So, rest in peace, little buddy. And we'll remember him and we'll miss him forever. Little Sky Pup.
Sky Pup sounds like a good.
And by the way, what you were mentioning for your listenership, since he was on stage with us so much, I actually got a cardboard cutout of him. So it's life size, even though he's not for really there, but at least he's there in a cardboard fashion.
In spirit too.
And in spirit.
Now, why don't even before we hit record, you said you were up early surfing. This is not super early. We're getting started here, but still early in the morning. Is that kind of your routine? Are you a routine type person? Or are you like, hey, yeah, no, I'm going surfing today, then doing this, but it sounds like you take advantage of the beach life.
Well, my wife will back me up on this. I'm not a routine person at all. I basically wake up, look at my phone. If there's waves, I'm going. But that is my favorite way to start the day, and that might be the reason why I don't officially move to Nashville, just because there's no beach there. And I'm a beach bum, but I just love the salt air. And I'm not completely smothered in show business here. so I can actually get my fill by visiting and meeting all the friends that I've met, and also the brilliant people that do their stuff there. But I can also be here and do the same thing, except having the beach and going surfing and kayaking and all that stuff that I like to do here. But yeah, if I can get a surf in before the day starts, or maybe even when the day ends, a lot of times, if I can get a surf in before a gig, that's when it's like exercising. You know, it's like I get a nice relaxing feeling, get some salt air and some salt water, and then I go play a show. That's not bad. That's not a bad office, man.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
How do you? I don't know much about surfing. When is there like a specific time in the day that's good to go?
I mean, here it's not world class surfing in Delaware, but I do like to go in the morning for whatever reason. It seems like it works well, but it's more with the tides. So here, if it's big waves, if there's a storm off the coast or something, then it doesn't matter. But you'd rather go during low tide. For any people who are looking to surf, like incoming low tide is where you'd want to be.
Well, I've heard since moving here that the Delaware, like up to Ocean City, like the waves aren't too bad.
Yeah,
I've heard they're like pretty, like you can be pretty satisfied.
Mm-hmm. And of all the things to complain about in 2020, not always. So this year, they didn't replenish the sand. I don't know what that means. I think they pumped the sand out from the ocean floor off the coast a little bit, and they pumped the sand back on the beach, but they didn't do that, leaving a sandbar down the coast of Dewey, and maybe in other places too. But this year, for the first time in my experience being here, I actually can surf right out front to where I stay, and like basically where I play my shows. Mm-hmm. So a lot of times, like I'll just hop out front for a few hours, and I'll go load into the show. So it's not like I got to drive 20 minutes down the road or 10 minutes, wherever I got to go. But yeah, that has been a blessing this year of all the things that, we miss. I'm not missing the waves, at least.
Yeah, and that would be tough in Nashville.
Yeah. But so you can always visit. Yeah, I just think that I like the beach too much.
Yeah. Do you like Kings of Leon at all?
Yeah.
I think they grew up most of their life. They hadn't even seen the beach because they're from Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And that's a crazy concept. I think we've discussed it on the show before with other people, but being from Jersey, I was an hour and 15 if you needed to be to the beach. Does it inspire you to write at all?
Sure. Yeah. I had one a long time ago. I had a band member that said, "Chris, all you do is write songs about boats and fish." And I couldn't argue against him. Like, yeah, I guess you're right, man. But I don't know if it inspires maybe the ideas for songs. It doesn't. One thing that the beach does is it doesn't make me very productive. It makes me feel good. I have a longing when I call it like holiday heart, or I wrote a song about it, like it's like wintertime blues, like when now it gets cold, and that's when I become more productive. Being here and the weather is cold, it's time to take a break from the beach scene and being out in the sun all day and playing these shows, to writing and recording and getting to work on there. So I like that balance, man. I like that balance. It's like when the seasons change, and I agree with you. When I leave this place, I have a longing for it to be in the ocean or be by the ocean. There's something about it, however you want to say, even in the off season too. So yeah, I just like I live in Baltimore City, and that's great. And I'm from the middle of nowhere, like a very rural town. But the beach for me, man, is I feel better. I feel better. Even I don't even have to go surfing. You can just stare out in the ocean, and you just feel better. And my wife says the same thing. Like, she might like catch like a bad bug or a cold or something. As soon as she comes to the beach, it's like that used to. But isn't it true? Like that used to be like a prescription if you had like back in the like the 20s or something like that. Where like if you had a sinus infection, if you were stuffed up, they'd write a prescription for like a day at the beach. Did you ever hear that before?
No, but I'm not surprised.
Just because it opens up, like, I don't know, what your sinuses or something. The salt helps you with that. I don't know. But I believe that if it really was, because I feel good. I feel better.
Chris Diller's in the house. What are you going to play for the peoples, for the world, for the ether, the universe right now?
I'd like to play an original song. This is a song that, in my opinion, no one has ever heard. I think I put it out on... Well, I didn't. I put it out on a record called Mother Nature Would Say. And it was one of the last songs I got together for it. But it's got a little good memories in it for me because it's about my friends from high school. We all went out to Wyoming and went four-wheeling and went camping, and we drank all the whiskey and all the Mad Dog 2020 we get our hands on. And the most beautiful night sky. And within all that, the most beautiful night sky I've ever seen in my life. So the purpose of this song is just to have something so I can remember it because it wasn't anything you could take a picture of. It's called Wyoming Sky. And how goes it? Same old, I'd say the same. Back where I come from, I lay my head down. In the cold mountains I looked up. I see heaven's edge. I fell asleep and the fire burned out when I woke up. I froze my ass off, I looked up again. And oh my, ceased down in the Wyoming sky. Wyoming sky. Wyoming sky. Even the brightest stars don't shine so much. Kick your head bare. Whiskey all gone now. We're spinning in the Wyoming sky. Wyoming sky. Wyoming sky. Don't you wonder why do we call this? So, got this space to roam. No traffic on roads. Wyoming sky. Wyoming sky. Wyoming sky. Wyoming sky. Wyoming sky. Myself with a strawberry banana smoothie. Thank you for letting me play that song. And it's kind of weird. I've been practicing a lot more with my my one-man band setup. So
For those of you who I've never met before, I play with like foot drums. I got a kick drum, snare drum, and a cymbal that's triggered with a bicycle brake cable. And I feel very naked without it sometimes. So getting used to it right now.
It was great.
Thank you.
Did you make that yourself? With the brake pedal thing?
No, there's a couple of pieces that I found that it's not the most, it's been done before, but maybe the cymbal is a little bit more unique. I don't know. It hits upside down at the cymbal that's attached to the kick drum, and I basically hit the kick and the cymbal at the same time.
Okay.
So it's just like, it's nothing fancy. It's just boom, boom, boom. It's just like keeping tempo,
Yeah. The one thing that stood out to me when you were saying the what it was about, was it the first time you had ever seen the nighttime sky in that fashion when you were on this trip in Wyoming, you said?
Yeah. I've been very, very lucky. I got a buddy named Drew. His name is Drew, and his family, they actually have a little like vacation home out there. Oh my God, middle of nowhere. It sits on the bluff in the middle of western Wyoming, about an hour and a half south of Jackson. So I've gone out there a handful of times, and man, like we had bonfires, and sometimes like throughout the banter, like you just get lost looking up. It's really ridiculous. It's like nothing I've ever seen before. Just shooting stars and meteors, and I have a time lapse of it somewhere. But even looking at that footage, that's why I like writing songs. Sometimes songs help with that. Like you don't, things that you can't take a picture of. It's a good way to remember it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like keeping a journal. I first went out there when I was like 20 years old or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like we got a trailer full of four-wheelers and went up in the mountains that went camping. That's when it was really crazy. Not a cloud in the sky. Just didn't seem real. It looked like it just came. It's like a out-of-body experience a little bit.
Yeah, I would agree, because when I was in a similar predicament where I was exposed to the nighttime sky like that, it changed my life.
Yeah.
Just straight up.
It makes you think, like, where you live. The mountain air is so fresh. I don't know if you come back to it and then you can really feel the air that you've been in, when it's the contrast of it. It's just insane, man.
Have you been doing a lot of traveling yourself over the years?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would like to snowboard. So we went to Wyoming 3 times in the last, I don't know, decade, it seems like. My wife's family's in California, Southern California, so we go there a bunch. Puerto Rico has good surfing. A lot of our friends that at work here in Dewey, they travel to Puerto Rico and we go visit them. Traveling always helps me inspire songwriting. It's like I was mentioning before, it was kind of like a journal, writing songs, Like I don't write anything. I write lyrics down, but it's just for me, get like, instead of keeping a scrapbook, worrying about social media, like I like to write a song about it if it really means that much to me. So.
What do you mean by that, like as opposed to social media?
Oh, like something for me. Like songwriting for me is like, social media is like, everyone wants to see this. Let me post this because I want to show it. And I do that with music too, but for me in songwriting, like that Wyoming song, that's a song that I just wanted something that I could share without, or something for me. Like the process of writing a song helps me remember like a good memory like that. So that's what I mean by that.
No, that's great. Now, when it comes to social media, how do you find a balance between your genuine self and also being aware of content promotion?
Yeah. I used this summer has been a year without the camera. It's changed so much, and I know that it's been becoming redundant now, but everyone's just figuring out that you can slow down a little bit. Social media for me, it was always a part of my day where I had to get up and do emails and booking emails and confirm dates, and also social media, like plug dates, because it is important. you got to let everyone know where you are. But with everything going on, like I've taken a couple steps back from that. And I usually make like a poster for the week of shows if I'm playing full week, or I'll do usually on a daily basis. But I've just taken so much of, I guess, the approach of, you know how like when you go to used to go to concerts and everyone would just bust their phone out and start recording. To me, think it's a pet peeve of mine. I don't like that. I like when you actually have a moment where, like, you know what, this one's for me. And I'm not the best person to go to a concert with because I'm a student of the game, really. Like people like Allie, my wife, she was like, "Well, can we dance?" Like, I'm paying attention. Like if you said Kings of Leon, I would just be watching their every move, their guitars, like what they're doing on their guitars, what their chemistry on stage, equipment. I'm a weirdo, man. I'm such a gear nerd. I don't know if you are too, but
no, I'm literally in that same boat with you. It's funny you're describing it perfectly.
Yeah.
So continue.
I'm a fan of the game, man. So if I go to a show, I saw Paul McCartney at Firefly a couple years ago. That was the best show I've ever been to, and I didn't move. I paid attention to his every movement. He didn't take a sip of water for 2.5 hours. He was playing. Like, he switched from piano to guitar to bass, and then he's the showmanship that he has. I mean, I'm a sucker for that. So, yeah, and I like to be in the moment and watching it and studying it instead of pulling my phone out and trying to record it. And I'm now looking through a screen, through the phone, at what's happening in front of me. So it's almost like I don't have the lens as if I would if I kept the phone in my pocket. You know what I mean? So like if I'm making sure I have the frame, but I'm not. It's a fantastic moment, but you're not actually living it. You're actually like looking at it through your phone. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like you said, it's the lens in between.
Exactly.
So if you want, you got anything else off the top of your head that you were thinking of playing?
Oh, yeah. This was the first song I recorded in Nashville. Sean Power, I think, brought this one to life. It's a love song, and it's just about being content and grateful for what you have. It's called Amen to That. If the road unravel, if we hit a wall in our travels, if we can't seem to walk out of the shadows, and I'll drive us home where the sun always shines. I'll take care of you, no matter where it says on the map. I'm fine where I am, so I'll hang on my head. Might not always get my ass down to sun and mess, but if I'm where your love is there, I'm singing amen to that. And even the days don't seem late, and even the trouble don't seem to pass. Whenever the morning rolls around too fast, I'll slow it down and keep the hands of time. I'll take care of you no matter where it says on the map. And I'm fine where I am, so I'll hang on my head. Might not always get my ass down to sun and mess, but if I'm where your love is there, I'm singing amen to that. If you ever wonder where it's gonna go, if you ever doubt this won't be hard, says on the map. And I'm fine where I am, so I'll hang up my head. Might not always get my ass down to son of mess, but if I'm waking love is then I'm singing amen to that. I'm singing amen to that. I'm singing amen to that. We did it. We did it.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen to that. So when did the harmonica start becoming part of your act or your songwriting and everything?
When I was shortly after the guitar.
So they were kind of in tandem?
Yeah, a little bit. Not so much. I think the guitar definitely came first, but also the harmonica. I'm not. I play with a guy named Jordan Feldman. He plays, he plays with me whenever he can, but he has taught me so much that I didn't know about the harmonica. It is the underdog of all instruments. I mean, it's so small. I got a bunch of them here, but
What makes you say that?
Because I think it takes a lot of practice to actually master it for such a little instrument. Guitar, you can get some chords down, and it takes a while, but like. I think to be good, anyone could play the harmonica. Like, all right, the right key, I'll just mess around with it, and you might be able to get by. But to be good at it, which I'm not, I think it takes an extra level of, music theory and practice. So I'm still learning.
Whenever I hear harmonica, I just think of Bruce, and
yeah,
he's a big harmonica guy. But who are some of your influences?
It's Tom Petty. Is my main guy. Tom Petty and Willie Nelson and Johnny Cash. I like that old twang. I think Tom Petty might be one of the better songwriters, and I think he got so much better as he got older. So if I had to be stranded on an island somewhere, it would be the Wildflowers album. I think that's one of the greatest albums ever. But I'm a sucker for Jimmy Buffett and Jack Johnson and a guy named Donovan Frankenreiter. They do a lot of harmonica and beach music too, so try to fuse them both together. And I also, I mentioned Scotty Emmerich before. There's people like Scotty and also Billy Currington and Kenny Chesney. What do they call that? It's like golf and Western music now. So I like that. It's just like easy listening country music and beach music. That's where I like to be.
What is it about Petty in particular for you?
Oh, the lyrics, man. That album. I think it's not very complicated music. There's those old if you wanted to learn, for example, like Led Zeppelin or something, that those guys have pipes. There's rock and roll guitar players. Those are hard songs to replicate. But Tom Petty, I just felt like as a singer-songwriter and also in a rock and roll band, he kept it simple. And for me, that speaks to me. I don't know how else to say it, but what's that song that goes? I'll be the boy with the corduroy pants. You be the girl at the high school dance. I feel like that's brilliant writing, and it's a shame, man, because I never got to see him play. That's one of my biggest regrets ever. Is I should have went to see him. He played Baltimore, I think, just a few months before he passed away. Mm-hmm. So it's a drag.
Yeah, there's something to be said for those artists that can take the simple songs and captivate.
He didn't oversing. He didn't overplay. And I've watched I don't know how many YouTube documentaries on him, but he was also a bit of a hard ass too. If he wanted a song a certain way. And, that you don't know how it feels, that song. It's a drum beat that goes boom, boom, tsh, boom. But they crushed it. I mean, he knew what needed to be fitting in that song, and he could like predict the future almost with that type of thing. So, yeah, big fan of his songwriting, and it's a shame we won't hear him play live anymore, but he does have more music coming out. Did you know that?
I didn't.
He wrote like 30 songs for Wildflowers, and apparently the record company said, "Nah, we want like a normal record, not 30." They want to do like a double album. But now he's got more music coming out, which is cool.
What do you think, for yourself, what are the benefits of being independent?
I do think that there's beauty in the grind of it all. I don't think we're meant to hop on American Idol and find shortcuts that way. That's a good platform if you're a good singer, and I know, you know, some of my favorite singers actually came through there, but I get a little of all the stories that you've heard with record deals and everything. It would have to be something I couldn't possibly say no to. But I enjoy the independence of what I do. I don't have any management, even though I've been approached with that a couple times. I just feel like, you know, I do the drums myself. I do the marketing myself. There's a lot of stuff that I'm able to handle, and I am not doing too much. So I think, you know, if something popped up, you know, I think my end game really would like to be a songwriter and not have to play so many shows. But it would have to be for a record deal. I mean, I don't know. I haven't been approached yet with that. So if it was something that there's all kinds of horror stories of people signing away, and then maybe like ticket sales, or you could only get enough money for recording, but everything after that and royalties and stuff. So I would have to be more educated to make a good decision.
For you, what was the experience where you said you had like a management type proposal or something like that?
Oh, I mean,
was it something that you were kind of like, or?
Yeah, it's all icky. It's all icky stuff. Like I get messages all the time from management companies like, "Hey, it looks like you're doing this down here. We're happy to help you." And then you're like, "If you pay us, $30,000, then we'll figure out how to expand your network and bring you here." But it's like, and then you go to somebody with that advice. Like this person reached out to me and like, "No, don't do that." You know, it's just some of it's a little bit of scammy, and you kind of want to trust those types of people if you're going to go into business with them. And if you don't know them, then it's a hard thing to do.
Speaking of risk, I mean, leaving a degree job as a graphic designer, you said you were doing that,
Yeah.
and saying I'm jumping into music, that is a risk. Did you always feel like music was what you wanted to do, or was it kind of you grew into that idea?
Yeah, it might have been growing into it, but I always played music. When I was going to art school.
Where'd you go to school?
I went to Maryland, University of Maryland.
UMD? Mm-hmm. Nice.
There was an art program there.
Terps.
Yeah. And what happened was I actually, like, my social life at school was like interrupted a bunch because I kept leaving to go play out. I was playing in a band back then. I would travel a little bit. So, and I always played. So I just continued playing. And then when it came time to think about, should I do music full time, I was playing 5 nights a week, getting to bed at 3 a.m, getting up at 7 to go work. And I was half-assing everything, including the shows. I was staring at a wall all day because I was so tired from the night before. And what I was doing was psychotic. Like, it was good money to have two things going at the same time, but my music was suffering. And I think even my regular job was suffering because of it. And then actually, of all things, like you try to do some soul searching before you make a decision like that. It was Steve-O from Jackass. I saw this interview of him talking about his mindset before he does his stunts. And he says, "I'd rather regret something I did do instead of something I didn't do." So like in his world, it would be like, "Oh, should I jump off this bridge or should I not?" Like, I'd rather jump off the bridge and regret doing it instead of regret not doing it. So I applied that, and I'd rather, and here's the thing, and you play gigs. I mean, maybe we talked earlier about how people approach you. One of the things that I notice a lot is that it's people who say, "Yeah, I used to do it, but I gave it up." I used to be in a band, or I gave it up. I used to write songs, I used to play guitar, whatever. But, just had to give it up. And I don't want to ever have that conversation. So, at the time I was like 28 years old, and I was working that job, and I can't even believe it was even a question now. So I left that job, and I kept rocking with the one-man band and trying to make at least enough to pay the bills, and I'm happy with that. So it's a pay cut, but I'm doing what I love to do, and I don't regret it.
Do you even feel like you're working?
No, it feels like the reverse retirement. Like, I'll work every day of my life, but is it really working? That's how I feel. So it's hard work. My body is a science experiment. How many shows can I do in a row? How many doubles can I do in a row? How much sleep do I actually need? As I now I'm 33, and I feel if I don't get enough sleep, I feel like I just get hit by a truck. It's just different now than I was when I was a little bit younger. But man, you're right though. I don't feel like I'm working. It's first retirement.
What's the how much does the support from your wife play a part in your endeavors?
Oh, she's more supportive than I could ever ask her to be. She has been since the very beginning, and it means the world. I write songs for her all the time, but that's one thing that I always try to remind myself, and let her know how much I appreciate it, because I know that that's also a point of contention in some relationships. Sometimes significant others are like, "You're going to be out till how long? And am I going to see you this weekend? And what are we doing?" Like, so I've been on, I've been in bands before or I've even had other musician friends who, it's just, it's not the easiest lifestyle to be accepting of. And she's just, terrific in that aspect. So I can't thank her enough if she's listening. My lovely wife, Allie, thank you so much.
You got a song for her?
That last one was for her. I do have a brand new song that it's not exactly a thank you for all your support type song, but it's I wrote a song, and partially I wrote this one with my buddy named John Zorn, and it's called The Doghouse, and it's just about being in an argument with your significant other and maybe not wanting to admit that you were wrong. So it's not exactly autobiographical, but it's kind of a funny tune.
Very relatable.
Yeah.
Within the world.
I'm actually really excited about this one.
Yeah, let's give it a go. We got The Doghouse.
The Doghouse. And all my songs are about dogs. Just kidding. All right. So on if I had some cold ones on Tuesday night. Sometimes I don't know wrong from right. So on if I greeted the dog before I greeted you. Don't worry, darling, I'm happy to see you too. I've had my share of mistakes and apologies. I've come running home to fall on bended knees, and I've done my time and then some. If you intend to stay mad at me, the doghouse is where I intend to be. So on if I smell like a few cigarettes, you'll smoke when I drink with my friends. So on if I can't always read your pretty mind, those cold shoulders don't keep you warm at night. I've had my share of mistakes and apologies, and I've come running home to fall on bended knees. And I've done my time and then some. If you intend to stay mad at me, the doghouse is where I intend to be. I could get used to living with my best friend. He don't mind the mess, so wonder where I've been. He has my back when the ice is there. And when you blow your fuse, I'm glad I can turn to him. 'Cause I've had my share of mistakes and apologies, and I've come running home to fall on bended knee. And I've done my time and then some. If you intend to stay mad at me, the doghouse is where I intend to be. The doghouse is where I intend to be. The doghouse.
Those cold shoulders will keep you warm at night. I think that's what you said.
Yeah. That's me and John Zorn, man. I enjoy writing with that guy. And he might be another guy you should have on here.
Who is that?
John Zorn, he's from Baltimore. We're friends. He plays down here sometimes. We were supposed to play more often, but I think COVID and booking changes and everything kind of got the best of us. But very talented, and does like a lot of bluesy songs too. So
I do want to ask, how do you stay, you said you're not a big routine type person. How do you stay focused? How do you stay motivated and on track? Do you find it's very easy to get on and off track with the marketing, running these things by yourself? Like, is it tough sometimes?
No, I don't have a routine, but I do get like hyper focused. That's the difference between me and my wife. I keep bringing her up because we're very opposite. She's type A, I'm type B. She's very much getting shit done mode, and I'm like, let's stop and smell the roses and kind of take our time and live in the moment. But when it comes time, like if I need to get something done or if I have a bunch of stuff done, I designate like that time to do it. But I don't plan it. If that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Like if I have to write a bunch of emails and I got to take care of the booking contracts and all that, I basically hyper focus and get that done all in one fell swoop. It's like, Allie, she likes to clean things as she go. I'll clean up the mess at one point. Not right now, not continuously all the time, but that's kind of how I operate. Yeah, I'm a chaotic mess. Like my studio at home, it's a forever changing life form, artwork, I guess. Like the van in my garage too. It's forever changing.
Well, as we kind of start winding things down, as we have our next people coming in,
yeah.
If people want to check out your music, anything like that, where do they got to go?
Sure, I got some music all over on Spotify and iTunes and everything like that. But if you do shoot a line to chrisdillermusic.com, that has links to all the Instagram and Facebook and also a big long show list, videos and everything like that too. So chrisdillermusic.com and shoot me a line and I will shoot you one back.
Well, why don't you send us off with a tune?
All right. So we're at the beach right now, and I wrote this song last summer with my buddy Scott Volkerding in Nashville. He frequents Rehoboth Beach too, but we wanted to write this song. It's about summertime romance. Another one that's not so autobiographical, but we'll give it a shot. This one's called I Know a Beach. want ketchup and fries, it's a chicken shack right across the street. And bartender is a friend of mine. She'll pour us some shots for free. We can go watch the sunset at the Bayside Waterfront Bar. Take a walk around midnight, find a place to watch the stars. And keep it lazy, laid back, take a long drag and get off the mat. Grab some Dixie cups and champagne. Could I ask for let's dance with you and Mary Jane? I know where the rich people go, can't get us backstage to the show. And I know a beach where we can keep it lazy, yeah, and lay back, yo. We got it. And there's a spot I know, just a little further down the avenue. Drop $1 in the claw machine. They got an after hours menu. We don't have to go anywhere, but girl, you made me want to. With your backless dress, your summer tan, and your own stone tattoo. And keep it lazy, lay back, take a long drag and get off the mat. Grab some Dixie cups and champagne. Could I ask for let's dance with you and Mary Jane? I know where the rich people go, can't get us backstage to the show. And I know a beach where we can keep it lazy, yeah, and lay back. No, I could stay for a while in this slow stone beach town before. Now I like to get inside of this crowd and keep it lazy, lay back, take a long drag and get off the mat. Grab some Dixie cups and champagne. Could I ask for let's dance with you and Mary Jane? I know where the rich people go, can't get us backstage to the show. And I know a beach where we can keep it lazy, yeah, and lay back. Lazy and lay back.